Alright guys, welcome back to another Opera Omnia video where we are going to do a little bit of some pool planning because next month is coming up, and alongside with that we have the 3rd anniversary for Global, and even for JP we have a 4th anniversary. Next month is going to be pretty crazy since I play both JP and Global, so it's going to be interesting. But we are going to be talking about the global side. We're going to be talking about what I plan on pulling for the month of February. So if you do enjoy this video, you want to see more content like this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for future content, as I am trying to aim for 1,000 subscribers, and your support would be greatly appreciated. Also, one thing to note, I do have a new Discord server. I'm probably going to be saying this for the next couple of videos, but I do have a new Discord server. If you guys are wanting to join the awesome community we have so far, we are almost at 100 members, which is pretty awesome. I was not expecting that many people to come through. So if you want to join the community, that link will also be down in the description below for you guys. Let's go ahead and get started, guys. We're going to talk about the first character that I am 1000% going to be pulling for, and that is Ramza. Ramza, he is getting his LD and his burst weapon. Okay, look, I'm gonna tell you guys right now, Ramza definitely helped me out in a lot of Lufenias, even after like him not being in full synergy for a set events, or I guess like the next couple of events after the release of Diablo's Divine Summon Board grinding and all that mess. Ramza, his LD and BT, I feel like is very powerful, and being a support burst character definitely helps out, because not only will he provide those lovely supports and whatnot, but he also has some benefits from his burst ability as well. So quickly, if we take a look at his LD weapon, his LD is a 4-hit AoE melee brave attack plus an AoE HP attack delivered twice. It increases the brave damage dealt by 60% when attacking a single target. Stolen brave can overflow up to 120% of its max brave. It deals split HP damage between all targets. Now, you know me, I like doing full AoE damage, but seeing as how he is doing the attack twice, you know, it doesn't really bug me that much. But the one big thing that I like about is that he delays all targets by 1 turn. He increases the party's brave by 20% of the total HP damage dealt after his last HP attack, and he initiates a chase, which is awesome. Also, for himself, he gives himself the 1 level of shout and the 1 level of the, what is it, the skill 2, whatever it is, pep, I guess is what it's called right here on the DB, for 8 turns. And he also gives a special effect called the Sunset Leaf Flute, which raises the party's initial brave by 40%, increases the party's gained brave overflow limit by 30%, and restores the party's brave by 40% of the initial brave, which is dope. And of course, shout, you know, raises attack by 40%, max brave by 20%, speed by 10%, and you know that it does not increase based on off a level. And then the pep buff raises max brave by 60%, attack by 20%. Overall, he is a very good support burst type unit. Now his burst, I love his burst so much. So his burst effect, what it does is it is a 5-turn party-wide effect, which increases the effect increases based on the party's total active buffs. It increases or raises the initial brave and the max brave and attack by 5% per buff on the entire party. So if you have 18 buffs active on your party, that percentage, that 90% bonus from all of that is nasty. And also increases the maximum brave damage limit to +2 per buff up to 13,598. And the same, the burst effect doesn't stack, but if it did, oh my god. But yeah, so you can see why myself and possibly other players are going to be pulling for Ramza. Ramza is a strong support. He will be carrying you for the next couple months. He is one that I typically don't tell people to pull, but when it comes to Ramza, I recommend it. Based off of my experiences in JP, I would personally recommend it. Also, with the Divine Diablos that is coming to Global Opera Omnia soon, Machina, his LD also makes a return. Also, I do want to note that LD, not LD calls, excuse me. LD calls will be arriving to Global Opera Omnia as well. So Ramza will be getting an LD call. Machina will also be getting an LD call. So if you missed Machina's LD weapon before, you have another opportunity to pull for his LD weapon now. Now, if we continue on, Caius is going to be the first lost chapter for the month of February. Caius with his LD weapon, which is called Despair Blade. What it does is it increases his own brave by 150% of the current HP plus an AoE HP attack plus a 6-hit AoE melee brave attack plus an AoE HP attack. Stolen Brave Overflow can go up to 120% max brave. Increases brave damage dealt by 50% when attacking debuffed targets. And which most of the time with Caius, I believe you do start off with debuffs. I could be wrong on that. I have to double check that. But I believe he does. So he also deals split HP damage between all targets, increases brave by 20% of the total HP damage dealt before the last HP attack. He gives himself a 4-turn body and soul buff, or 3 levels of the body and soul buff. Does not consume use counts on the next turn, excluding some abilities. So he, if I understand that correctly, I believe that means he gives himself a free skill usage. Let's see. Use. If target is afflicted with Doom dash Chaos, all enemies inflicts break, cancels break status if already broken. While the special effect of Heart of Chaos is active, it raises the max brave and attack for Caius by 40%, increases his stolen brave overflow limit by 20%, and then after the Heart of Chaos is cancelled, the enemy attacks will not reduce HP below 1. And if the HP ever falls below 1% of max, it recovers 100% of the HP. And he gives himself the 4-turn, for 4 turns, the 5 levels of body and soul. So he's basically capped out on the buff of his. That stacks, or not stacks, but has stacks on it. And then it cancels the Heart of Chaos. So Caius' LD, along with his LD call, is actually, at least for me, it came in handy in a lot of situations. I am actually going to pull for him. I know most people, not most, no, I can't say most, but some people are kind of like on the, like they weren't too impressed. But I mean, with his LD, it helps him a lot. I am going to be pulling for him mainly for his LD call because, like I said, his LD call it definitely comes in handy later on. But, you know, I'll probably talk about that whenever, like, I do, like, a shenanigans showcase to kind of give you guys an idea what I'm talking about. Guy is going to be the new character for Opera Omnia in February. Now, Guy, look, Guy is an alright character. He has Earth. He does Earth damage. And he does a number of things. I'm not going to go into too much details into him. I feel like it would be best to do a separate video on him because there's actually a lot to talk about, seeing as how he is a new character. Guy he's alright. I may have used him maybe once or twice after his initial release. Other than that, though, I have hardly used him at all. So I am still on the fence as to whether or not I'm going to pull for him, but I am leaning towards a no. I'm probably going to skip him because I already have Gao, and Gao is actually going to come in handy in future events, actually specifically a story event for the month of March. So I am probably going to skip Guy on my global account. I did pull for him in JP, but I wasn't too impressed. I don't know. Maybe there's something that I'm just missing out on him, but like to me, he didn't really like shine like some of these other characters that are coming up. Afterwards, we have the mid-month burst, which is going to be Ultimicia. Now, real quick, Ultimicia's burst effect. What it does in general. It is a 15-hit AoE magic brave attack plus an AoE HP attack, which increases the brave damage dealt by 60% when attacking a single target, and it deals 100% HP damage to all targets. The maximum brave damage limit goes up by 20%, so she'll be doing 12k basically during her burst. Of course, that also depends on many other things, but also the maximum obtainable Brave plus HP damage limit goes up by 80%, so she can do up to 180k damage. That's basically her cap, is 180k. Her burst effect is what I really like about her burst. It is a 3-turn burst effect, which deletes target's next turn with her own abilities, and this is only once per turn, and it excludes chase attacks. That's actually a very powerful burst effect. It could be look, that burst effect can be used in some situations and some fights, especially if you're dealing with a boss who either inflicts you with some nasty debuffs or is spamming the heck out of you with HP attack. There's numerous things you can do with that burst effect. It sucks that it only lasts for 3 turns, but overall though, I most likely will be pulling for Ultimicia's her burst weapon, just because of that burst effect. Now we move on. Pinella is getting her LD, and I think she gets a small rework. Yeah, I could be wrong. Look, there's so many characters that I have to remember. Okay, I can't remember everything. So her LD is actually a very good LD. So what it does is it has Esuna, so it removes all of the debuffs for the party. It increases the own Brave by 100% of her initial Brave. It has a 3 hits AoE magic Brave attack plus AoE HP attack. It increases the Brave damage dealt by 60% when attacking a single target. Gain Brave can overflow up to 120% of the max Brave, her max Brave. Stolen Brave overflow can overflow. Stolen Brave overflow can go up to 150% max Brave. It deals 100% HP damage to all targets. It increases the party's Brave by 10% of the HP damage dealt. The party gets, for 8 turns, a 50% speed up, a 20% HP regen, and 100% Brave regen based off of the unit's character's initial Brave. Now, one thing to note is that all of these buffs that I mentioned now become framed buffs. They are not non-framed anymore. They are framed now. Also, your allies do get an 8-turn 20% attack up, and for Pinella herself, she gets an 8-turn buff called Liberty Dancer. Now, Liberty Dancer raises the party's initial Brave max Brave by 20%, and also increases the party's gain Brave overflow limits by 20%. I am 1000% going to be pulling for Pinella's LD. I pulled for her in JP. Her LD call with this LD ability is very helpful, and I would personally recommend it as an LD, for LD call usage, or whenever you do use Pinella. I am definitely going to be pulling for Pinella. Now, Jack is Jack of all trades. I know. No, so with Jack's LD weapon is actually very powerful, and his LD call is even more powerful, and it's one that I'm gonna tell you guys right now. If you don't pull for Jack's LD, you're nuts, because of what it does. So what it does is it inflicts Break. It is an 8-hit melee Brave attack plus HP attack. It increases the critical Brave damage dealt by 50%. Stolen Brave can overflow up to 150% of the max Brave. It deals 50% HP damage to non-targets. It increases the own Brave by 20% of increases own Brave by 20% HP damage dealt to target, and then all targets get a 3-turn 1 level of blade wound with the stat going up to 5, afflicted blade wound level +2. So what that does is, when breaking a target or attacking a broken target, it triggers a follow-up attack. This is related to her LD, but I'll talk about what that frame debuff does. It triggers a follow-up attack, which increases its own Brave by 100% of attack, 6-hit melee Brave attack plus HP attack, 30% per hit, moves the next turn to before target if turn would otherwise come after. So basically he just keeps attacking until, like, at some point, like, he's gonna be like, okay, I'm done. And this can't happen during the summon. Now, the afflicted target's blade wound level 1 upon taking Brave damage, taking damage from Brave to HP attacks once. Okay, so that doesn't matter. This is what really matters with that framed debuff on Jack, and what makes this LD card very powerful. So basically what it does is it lowers the enemy's defense by 10%, and for every time that you hit the enemy, it actually goes up to 15 to 20 to 30 and then to 50% for the defense down and the enemy. And it also increases the brave damage that the enemy is taking when they are broken, or I guess in break status. Now, with the increased brave damage, it starts off at 10%, then it goes up to 15, 20, 25, 30%. That is a very powerful LD card. Like I said, I would highly recommend it because you don't know how helpful that LD card is once it has been used in battle, especially with some of these bosses who do some like crazy brave reduction. This LD card really comes in handy. It really does. And it's one, like, I had to show some gameplay to kind of show you guys some differences whenever this is not on and whenever this is on, and what a crazy difference it does and how helpful it is in a fight, especially in Lufenia fights. Now, if we move on to the last two units, Cryo is going to be getting a small rework and an LD. Now, her LD is what I really like about her, and it's super helpful as an LD call. So what it does, it is a 4 hits AoE Thunder Magic Brave attack plus an AoE HP attack delivered twice. Increases Brave damage dealt by 60% when attacking a single target. The Stolen Brave can overflow up to 120% max Brave. Deals splits HP damage between all targets. Increases party's Brave by 10% of the total HP damage dealt. Now, all targets have a 4-turn Thunder Resist down on the first HP attack, and also they get a 1-turn debuff called Judgment, and she gives herself an 8-turn buff called Unspoken Bond. Now, while Unspoken Bond is active, her own Brave will not drop below 10% of her max Brave. If it is below 10%, does not decrease any further. Now, upon expiration of the Judgment debuff, it triggers a trap attack. It increases own Brave by 100% of Cryo's initial Brave. It is a 4 hits Thunder Magic Brave attack plus HP attack, which is what is it, 60% times 4? I'm not 100% sure what that means. Stolen Brave can overflow up to 150% max Brave. It increases the party's Brave by 20% of the HP damage dealt. It paralyzes the enemy for 1 turn, but it does not initiate chase with once that debuff goes off. Now, the Unspoken Bond buff that she gives herself, it raises her own initial Brave by 60%, grants the party 20% Thunder Enchant. So now she enchants and impels for the entire party, which makes, like, you know, it ups her usage, basically. Increases the party stolen and gain Brave overflow limit by 20%. The Judgment debuff, what it also does is it lowers the defense by 30%, and of course it triggers that Judgment, which paralyzes them, you know, so on and so forth. And she also inflicts a Thunder Resist down, which, you know, yeah, it's basically impel. So Cryo is another one that I would personally recommend. Now, I know not too many people are too impressed with Cryo, and I will show some gameplay off as to why I think she's actually really good, especially her LD call, because her LD call is basically what I just said right here, and it lasts for 6 turns. So a free enchant and impel, I don't see why that's even questionable as to why one would not pick up this LD for Cryo. Now, finally, we are going to end it off with Hope. Hope is going to get a small rework, I believe, and also his LD call. His LD call is unique because it is the only LD that does said thing. So what it does is basically he has the ability to cast Magic Resist down. So it's not any type of impel. So, like, you're going to encounter a boss at some point where you're gonna encounter some bosses in the future where you can't put any type of enchant or impel, and this is where Hope comes in, because if you bring units that does magic type attacks, having Hope do that frame, or is it a frame debuff? I think it is. Having Hope do that magic resist down on the enemy really helps out magic users to be able to continue doing some strong brave damage. So what it does is lowers magic resistance and increases the brave damage taken by 20%. And then specifically for, if you want to go into the details of his LD, it recovers the party's HP by 30% of the max HP. Recovered HP can overflow up to 120% of the max HP. It is an 8-hit AoE Magic Brave plus AoE HP attack, which increases the Brave damage dealt by 60% when attacking a single target. The Stolen Brave can overflow up to 180% of the max Brave. It deals split HP damage between all targets, and for all the targets, it has that 3-turn debuff called D-Shell, which is that magic resistance down. So I am for sure pulling this, because this Hope's LD call really came in handy. Really did, especially when Terra gets her LD and her burst. Ooh, combine these two and it's a beautiful combination, because Terra will dish out extra damage. And like I said, we're going to be getting close to that time where Lufenia fights, they're going to have some major Brave reduction. So having these debuffs or having these LDs would really help you. I feel like the month of February is more of a support type of month, because of like some of these support units that are getting LD slash reworks slash etc. So but that's gonna be it for the video, guys. Let me know in the comment section below, based off of what I showed you guys, on who it is that you may or may not consider pulling for. What units are you going to be pulling for the month of February? Also, of course, with Global getting another Global First LD weapon, that's gonna, you know, add up to all of these great characters that are getting reworks and, you know, LDs, etc. So it's gonna be a tough month for many players, but you know, all I can say is just plan your pulls accordingly, excuse me, and hope for the best. So let me know in the comment section below though, who are you gonna be pulled for. As always, if you did enjoy the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for future content. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in my next video.